Yes, thank you very much for the invited us to talking about what we do in our regions. Now I'm come from Thailand, but now I'm represent the Asian eHealth Information Networks. So what is the network? Please, next slide, please. Actually, our networks created by WHO in 2011. It's starting very casual. It's starting very casual. Usually, the WHO and developing partner will convene the conference or the meetings related to the development of the health information system. And in 2011, we have UNAIDS, WHO, and the WebPro gather all the stakeholders in Asian regions who work on the health IT and e-health. At that year, WHO are launching the WHO ITU e-health strategy toolkits. The idea is that would like every country to move on planning or working on the national health information system and helping the country to laying the roadmap. So at that time, I think 200 people from each country is 5 to 10 people from each country gathering there. We are all the people who work on the LIT in each country. And at the end of that conference, we just come together and think, we can work together. So we put the proposal to the WHO WIPRO that we would like to work together. We may convene the small meeting or conference. And luckily, we have our colleagues who work, who responsible for the helping country to do the health IT in that regions, Mr. Mark Randy. And he gave us the small grant to convene 10 people from 6 countries to write down what do we need and what is the gap or the capacity building that we need. And then with that, we talking with several developing partners like the UNICEF, the ADB, and NORAD. We got some support from the developing partner. So you can see that at the first picture, this is the first AeHIN general meeting convened in Bangkok. It around 100 people, and we got people from Korea, Hong Kong, which is more advanced than our regions, exchange knowledge and also talking about how to develop national health information system or e-health or digital health. So every year we got all these kind of the meetings or general meetings and also the conference. The theme of each meeting usually get aligned with the activity of the WHO that like the universal healthcare coverage, how we got to get the e-health or the national health information system to support the implementation of the universal healthcare coverage, the challenge of the governance of e-health, the challenge of the about the interoperability and health data standard, and also the roadmap. All of these themes have changed. Have evolved every year. And last year we worked with Ministry of Health and Sport in Myanmar and co-host the 5th general meeting in Naypyidaw, the capital in Myanmar, with the support from many developing partners like the ADB, WHO, UNICEF, NORAD, and several. Some provide the in-kind, some provide the resource person, and that is the platform that we share knowledge. What mean by share is that the developing partner also has some kind of the tools, some kind of the application that would like to have a country to look at. And at the same time, country also need have some need and also want to learn to others countries. Next, please. So we grow from a small network. You can see that it's very casual, like informal network. But people who gather is the people who works in the field. I am also the people who work developing the National Health Information System. I'm struggling with the how gonna do the interoperability and standard. I myself doing and researching on the health data standard, developing drug terminology for the countries. So this is the need in each country. And several countries in South and Southeast Asia, some countries are good in some area, some countries are lags behind, like Philippines are working very hard on the governance of the health IT. They successfully forming the governance body at the ministry level, cooperating with the Ministry of ICT and Ministry of Health. Malaysia is very advanced on the telemedicine and also the kind of the projects management. Thailand, we work with the health IT and the USC. We very success in the universal healthcare coverage, and we benefit a lot from the use of the health, digital health and health IT, and we work a lot on the interoperability and health data standard. This is all what we have, and we also want to learn from each other. CLMV country like Cambodia, Myanmar, Vietnam, and other countries also maybe a little bit lag behind, but we are friends. And what we think that how we gonna work together, that like friends help friends. So our motto is that if we help friends, friend will help us. So we give first and then we can take. So the network is more on like the trust of the people who work in the fields. And whatever developing partner or donor come, we will work for our country. It's our country, it's our health information system, and it's our network. We have to know what is our challenge, how we gonna moving forward, learning from our friends. Right now, we growing from 11 members from 11 country, 11 people in 6 countries to around 1,000 members. Because member is free, what they got is that we got the mailing list of talking about activities, and we luckily get the support from the developing partner to from the kind of the webinar platform. And we do webinar, invited expert people who work in each area to talking about the e-health and digital health development almost every month. We didn't pay them. And they just come and talk 1 and 2 hours and exchange knowledge. And right now you can see that this is all the developing partner that supporting us. In the first year, NORAD is the major funders that support. WHO always support. And the ADB, the UNICEF, GIZ, all of these developing partner, which is also working in the same area, that to develop the e-health and health information system, one country to use the ICT to strengthening health and healthcare. Next, please. So along the years, we conclude that we have a gap, and we set up 4 strategies to work among ourselves. First is that I think we need a capacity building in digital health, e-health, civil registration, and vital statistics. The second thing is that we want to increase the peer-to-peer knowledge sharing, which means that some country knowing or get better and have a best practice for something that can share. things that we share is not the success. We always share failure. We also tell our friend that you not to go this way. I have passed this way. You should go to this way. And because of we don't have face to lose. We are the people who works in this field. We don't have face to lose. We just want our works. Success and be workable. What it means is workable. And we know that we need standard and interoperabilities. And one of our challenge in every country is the governance. Health IT is not fancy like especially in foundation, it's not fancy. And people are looking at the disease specific. They don't see the value of the national health information system of that foundation. So most countries most of them think that, oh, e-health is just the IT, give the IT works to the IT people. That doesn't work. You need to involve all the stakeholders, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Health, and also some Ministry of Social Welfare. All these, they have to see the same pictures and then can form kind of the architecture and roadmap to development. Next. And like I say that this is the beginning of the NEET networks. We follow the WHO ITU National Integrity Toolkit. The 7 components that we have to work on, we just identify which component that we lack and what we want to develop. And we use as the frameworks. And then we evaluate with this framework frequently, and then helping each country to feel what they lack on. Next, we come up with we call the health information system or e-health capacity building roadmap. And we identify among the people who work there, we have an active member from country like 5 to 10 people that can talking every month virtually to the internet. And then we think that if we want to work toward the have effective health IT or e-health, we have to work what skill that we need. We know that we have to learn about governance, IT governance. We choose COVID. We think that we need the enterprise architecture to thinking about the roadmap, the big picture of the country. So we choose the TOGAF and also another standard and also another knowledge that we can think that it will help. Next, please. So with our experience in the network and the guidance from the developing partner and also working with several groups, we developed we have come up with some knowledge that to work and to success in developing the national health IT system, country need to work on the 4 major components. Most of these are foundation, it's not application, it's foundation, like the governance. We have to try to form the governance, the health IT governance in the country. The second thing is that we have to have architectures. Otherwise, and then we have to have the people who works in to run all these governance body and architecture. And the last thing is that in standard and interoperability, we call our framework is mind the gaps, and we would like to fill the gap among each country with peer-to-peer. And what we mean by peer-to-peer is not just the country, it's also our peer with the developing partner who see the same direction, who see the same thing. That foundation is very important. Next, please. And we are lucky that we have many developing partners and also the NGO that developing tools. We adopt the open health information exchange architectures that we need to have the share asset and share service and share benefit. All the tools and guidelines come from many groups, like the some group like the Open HIE communities, which developing this kind of framework. So we follow up, or we follow this kind of framework on developing the IT in national health IT in the country. Next, please. So next, our 6th AeHIN General Meeting, and the theme is about the interoperable digital health for the universal healthcare coverage. Will be in Colombo, and I would like to invite that if you can go and participate with us, please go in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and the Ministry of Health of Sri Lanka are the co-hosts with us, and also the other developing partners like ADB and the WHO. Thank you.
Merci. Merci beaucoup, Dr. Boonchai, de cette...
Thank you so much, Dr. Boonchai, for this invitation. Of course, it's a very kind invitation. It's hard to resist the call and this invitation to visit Sri Lanka. Of course, we are very enthusiastic in the view of all the work you do in your network on the form, but and it's very interesting that you say that we learn from our failures. You don't only share success stories, but also failures. And it's very interesting to say that you're not going to lose face when you share your failures. And so I really like what you do at the regional level. Well, the same thing happens in Africa at the moment. The African Alliance is in the process of being created, and also they try to share best practices. Next to you, we are very fortunate to have Housseynou Ba. He used to be the health minister in Mauritania. He's an expert for the WHO. So you used to be a minister, so you used to deal with politicians, so you're not necessarily a medical doctor, but you pay a close eye to what they do in Asia, because I know you are aware that the challenge for Africa is really the scaling up of those projects. So you have many micro projects, beautiful organization, and for providing us with the opportunity to discuss that theme, which lies very close to our heart. As you said, networks play a very important role when it comes to scaling up. But before I pick up on the importance of those networks, I wanted to share a few figures around our region in Africa. Today, we realize that we've reached a level of technical maturity. A few years back, if you'd asked me the question, what's the main challenge in terms of e-health, we would have answered, well, infrastructure is lagging behind. Today, 80% of African's population has a mobile phone, 80%. 30% of African population is connected to the internet. And the last studies demonstrate that in 2050, 50% of our African citizens will use intelligent solutions in order to perform sophisticated transactions. Now, all continent is mature when it comes to technology. Even if people can't read and write, they are quite proficient when it comes to those techniques. Now, the second point I wanted to mention is about the health system. Unfortunately, you are very much aware that the health system is very poor. We're lacking human resources. We're lacking basic infrastructures. We have only a couple medical doctors for millions of inhabitants, while in Europe or in the north, you have hundreds of medical doctors and specialists. So again, our health systems are of very poor quality. With the WHO, we are convinced that those technologies can help in strengthening those health systems and contribute to the international commitment that a number of NGO and international organizations share towards universal health coverage, UHC. So we are convinced that those techniques can help in reaching UHC. We are deeply convinced of that, but also we want to be able to back this feeling that we have with scientific data. Third point of what I wanted to share, it is true that IT is widely used in the health sector, but mostly in the form of pilot projects. You have e-health projects in all African countries today, but those projects are pilot projects, and 26% of those are mobile projects. So we have a number of things happening. Unfortunately, very few countries were able to scale up those pilot projects. Why is that? Well, those pilot projects, most of the time, are supported by NGO without a strong involvement of health ministry. So they have funds for a limited period of time, let's say 2 years. They implement the project, and then at the end of this period of time, they have no money left and they can't scale up or they can't continue. And unfortunately, it's a shame that those pilot projects, most of them can't really thrive. Now, they are supported, as I said, for a limited period of time, sometimes by universities, because universities also have an interest in research. Unfortunately, without the help of the health ministry or without the help of the high-level decision makers, those projects either remain at the very limited scale, very local scale, but quite often those projects don't really, as I said, can't really thrive. So that's very interesting what you say. So we can see that in Asia and in Africa, the project bearers, those project managers, are starting to structure. But what I hear is that at the level of the ministries, you need relays, you need people that are structured at the level of the ministry. Yes, that's right. This is what I was saying that we need more structuration at the ministry level. Can you please speak closer to the microphone? Thank you so much. We have a project which was developed in South Africa for the follow-up of pregnant women. So it started with an e-health project, but they are reaching the end of that pilot phase. It's a very successful project. 3 million women were supported by that project, but now they do not have enough funds. Most of the time we have a lack of political will and a lack of leadership, and I think our networks can help in improving that, in increasing visibility, awareness raising, but also help in convincing senior decision makers. We also have a major challenge with health professionals. Medical doctors, from my experience, are very conservative people. And it's not only in Africa, I do reassure you. Medical doctors, most of the time, are reluctant to change. Most health professionals, well, they are very busy. They have so many things to do that they don't really want to pick up and use those techniques. So it's a major challenge. We should try and help those people change behavior and start using those new technologies. This is the second challenge, as I understand it. Then on the third challenge is really to have a business model or an economic model. This is very important if you want to have a sustainable service, if you want to have a long-lasting service. You can't get a service free to identify that cost, and it has to be paid for by someone who needs to be identified. And in that respect, I think that networks can help us finding the right You have the politicians, the medical doctors, hospitals. So it's a triangle, right? So in the structures you have, how do you integrate those three types of actors? How do you take them on board?
That is the very good question. You can see that because the health IT is not IT issue. IT is only 20%. Mostly people, and they have to first aware, and then they have to see the benefit and how can utilize all of these advanced technology. But you cannot do with only the IT. So we saw a lot of pilotitis, a lot of pilots in many countries. When donor come, when NGO come, when the fund dry out, it just stop. It's not scaling. What is mean by scaling? I am not talking about the application. We're talking about how we can work together and how the foundation, like how the information system that can talk and then can continue. We know that this is the foundation. This is the thing that important. You asked about the coordination. That is challenge in every country. And I said that we're starting with people like me, people who are in the middle or working in the field. We have pain. They don't see the same. I mean the same picture. And the politician and the administrator, they have a very busy to solve a lot of problems. They just want health IT is IT people, give money to IT, then have a back box and then solve. But that is not solution. So one strategy that we along the year we think that is quite success. We call the convergent workshop. What we mean by the convergent workshop, that we know that at least you have to get people in Ministry of Finance, Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Health, also Science and Technology to come together in one meeting or something like that, in a very high level, people like high level, and let them see the success of their neighbor, and we just convene this kind of the convergence because of people in the country. They like us, they don't know how to do. So we working together and then asking developing partner like WHO or NORAD that we are going to do this kind of convergence. The request is from the people in the country, and we find friends from country coming to that convene the meeting or conference. Our friend doesn't talk. Friend from another country talking about the architecture, the need of the governance, something like that, and also the practice in another countries. So that, I think, that is one of the motivation for the people, the stakeholder in that they have to work together, and then it will become the works of getting people together and doing the roadmap or some architecture of what they want to achieve and what kind of need they need, then it will emerge. And that will request several developing partners that can you support this kind of the training? Can you get some kind of the funding that we can go to the country that work well on this area to see? And we work this for 3 years already. Thailand has received 3-4 I call customized knowledge exchange workshop. That they request that we want to learn hospital information system. So we go to their country, we know that what they lack, and then we come and then we set up some kind of the customized workshop. It's not the training, it's customized that what you need to see, then go to see and go to feel, something like that.
On entend bien
So we hear very well in what you say the need that there is to start with the field, to really address the questions from the field. But also we understand that you need to be cross-cutting, and it's sometimes difficult because the language is difficult between IT people, medical doctors, or politicians. Now, you have some experience when it comes to scaling up projects. We'll see in the award winners that there are some award winners from your region. Do you think that there are key success reasons, key for success when it is the question of scaling up? Do you think that you have reasons which explain why your projects become successful?
I cannot say that we are successful in every area, but success in one area is that we help each other. We come as a network. Each country is still facing the different problems, and all these problems usually, some is similar. Like every country, they don't have the interoperability of the system. They don't have the governance body, and all of these we can work together. As you say that we know that pilot is all over the place. And what is to scaling up is that you have to work with. Look at it. It's not the project or the one health IT, not the silo anymore. You have to create the architectures of what kind of the architect, like the planning of your house or planning of your city. And each country, they have their own context, so they know well what is the limitation and what is the opportunity that they can get. And they have to come up with their roadmap with the support from developing partner, the NGO and the friends who has passed this kind of the experience for, different kind of the experience. We are not, right now in South and Southeast Asia, we still struggling with using the health IT for health and healthcare. We still struggling with this. But we try to do, to work on what I can say that the foundation, the governance things, the architecture thing, and the standard and interoperability thing. And with this, I think all the projects or the application they can work together. So the first is to see what is your, what is the country problems, and then get help from people who has passed the same experiences.
Housseynou Ba, je voulais vous poser un petit peu les mêmes questions. Tout à l'heure, dans la présentation du docteur Boonchai, on a bien vu comment une stratégie régionale quand même se met en place sur l'Asie, avec des échanges d'expériences entre professionnels et des buts qu'on essaie de déterminer les plus communs possibles. Est-ce que vous imaginez sur l'Afrique, dans les prochaines années, la même chose, une capacité, aussi bien du côté du politique que des opérateurs, avoir une stratégie régionale, des buts communs et donc une structuration pour y aller en mettant de côté les différences de chaque pays?
Oui, moi je pense qu'au niveau politique déjà ça a commencé parce qu'au niveau de l'Afrique, vous avez 5
objectives.
régions.
Do you think that in Africa, in the next couple of years, you will have the ability from the political part and the operators having a common joint objectives, the structuring to move forward, and also not having differences between countries, Central, West, and Maghreb? And WHO level is to increase the awareness of governments, because members who are in fact part of the WHO, we have 47 countries in Africa, and since 2012 we in fact try to advocate the countries so that they could have a multi-sectoral vision, taking into account all the sectors. Okay, it's starting to bear its fruits, because today we have 26 countries from African regions who already have set this strategy. 10, it's still ongoing. Unfortunately, very few countries have rolled out these strategies. Why? Because they have financial problems and other problems. But still, I think that at political level, there is this wish to share, to set up these networks. Recently, Benin organized a major meeting gathering people from IoT and health. The idea is to promote e-health. So you can see that we are at the first steps of this networking, this kind of commitment at government level in Africa. One last question, and then we'll hand it over to the audience, and also web questions from the room or from the web. One last point. So you feel that this structuring is happening, exchanges between the countries. However, you are concerned by, I would say, this gap between the French-speaking Africa and English-speaking Africa. Is this true? Well, can we really talk about this today? It's a reality in any case. It's a fact. I can see this from the WHO hat, but it's a reality that I've also talked about at the WHO meetings. I blew the whistle and they said no, but it's not true. But I showed them some data about this. First of all, in terms of financing, the English-speaking Africa have many foundations. I think they have 10 or so foundations. They finance and fund e-health. And then you also have government institutions who also fund a lot of projects. The Norway cooperation is here. The GFeed cooperation also. The UK is also here. So you see, we have a lot of fundings for e-health, and also American universities. So for them, they have a lot of means to support research. So you see, the context is more in favor of the English-speaking Africa. And however, in the French-speaking Africa, we have fewer players. We have figures to back this up, but it's unfortunately a reality. It's a reality. So it's good to talk about this. Anyhow, thank you very much for your contribution, for your structuring that has to be done not only in terms of IT, but also policies. It's not easy to get everyone around the same table and decide on regional strategies, but we can see that we're moving forward. So what I am now suggesting is to really have a Q&A for 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe ask your questions to the speakers, but I am sure that we have web users who can ask their questions, who have started the questions. So I can see the first questions coming from Arnaud G, who is from the United States. He says, well, hello from San Francisco. Thank you so much for your observatory meeting. I'm in Silicon Valley, so congratulations to everyone. Now, do we have other questions, maybe comments on the structuring of the various players? So please use the mic. Please use the mic. So I really encourage everyone to give their comments either through the website of ODS or Twitter. So please can you introduce yourself? Ask a very quick question so that we can answer it. Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for this roundtable. I'd like to thank and congratulate the speakers. My question, my comment is mainly for Dr. Housseynou Ba. So I agree with you, all the problems that you've described. Now, can I just make a comment on the differences in terms of means for the development of e-health? Of course, you pinpointed the problem, but it's sometimes more a problem of strategic vision, and then maybe it's a problem of training in order to have the best strategic vision. So they have to understand the challenges behind e-health. E-health is just a a means, is not a final objective. So all the e-health, we can understand that e-health is a means to really cover priorities. We have examples in Africa, agencies, they have a clear vision. So you see, it's a question of people, it's a question of training. We have to make sure that the training, proper training, is given to these countries. And I think that the WHO have launched a great action related to training in Africa and e-health. Well, would you like to say something? You said we needed to have leaders that are aware and trained. Well, I agree with what has just been said, and this shows the importance of these networks. I haven't had time to say more about it, but these international networks are here for training. Of course, there's a technical side of it. It's important to talk about norms, standards. We have working groups for that, but we also have to make sure that these networks change their mindset, change their behaviors. It's important to organize trainings so that, in fact, people can help them, not replacing them. Because some people are afraid from, artificial intelligence. These are tools that could help. They will never replace someone. Now, can I just add something, just to show you how important the challenges are? I think that, and I thought that e-health was only a tech object. In my country, we had a strategy from IoTs, so I took and I put on my list the e-health strategy. At that time, I was more into IoTs strategies, but I think I made a big mistake, because in my strategy, I only looked for funds and grants. We had a funder that gave me 300,000 and 400,000, so I had the good money, but without talking to the health ministry, I interconnected all the hospitals. I invested in conference, and that was back in 2003, and I put everything in place, but it never worked. Why? Because I didn't really involve the health professionals, the caregivers. They have to be involved. And then, of course, I became part of the health ministry, and then I understood what happened. Yes, there is a need for strategy, so we need to have a cross-cutting, transversal. Dr. Boonchai, in your network, do you also have this training, this awareness? We can believe that the networks are lobbying, but in fact, it really is part of training, yes?
I think we are talking about several levels of networks. Our network is health IT and health professional who works on the belief and have passionate that health IT, ICT can be strengthening in health and healthcare. From Ministry of Health, academia, and also NGO. So basically, some are at a very high level, some is in the technical level, but it all have the same passion that we think that this kind of tools will strengthening health and healthcare. And we see that I think there is three components that our network can be still working here. First is that we have a dedicated people in each country. Or most of these people are people who are working in the field. We didn't change our field. I'm the physician. I'm working as a clinician for 15 years, and then I have to work for the informatics, and now I'm full-time informatician. So I'm works every day on this. So I would like to improve my national health information system. I think people like me, there is several people in each country. Some country like Dr. Fasila in Malaysia, She is kind of in the administrative level, but also growing from the people working in the field, doing the telehealth and also governance strategy. Dr. Alvin Marciero, Mr. Jai Ganet, Ms. AeHIN from Myanmar. All of these people, we form the group we call the Working Council, and we try to identify in each country. And this group of people come together thinking about raise the problem of their country and come up with some kind of the gap, the knowledge gap, and how we can learn. Many times we get training from developing partner or even the private company using the money from the developing partner to train us. But many times we just train each other. Some country, like me, I'm educated in health informatics in the US, so I can be kind of the mentor or kind of the telling the experience that in Thailand to another country. Dr. Alvin Marcielo also trained in the National Library of Medicine. Dr. Fasila also have experience on the many health IT projects, and also some very good and have experience in the field. That all the people, also the list being the resource people in the regions. We are not just waiting for the knowledge from the developing countries. We develop ourselves using our context, and then we share this context, this knowledge. That is the first thing. The second thing is we produce a lot of products, right? When we have guidelines, we got the support from the ADB and the expert from the UK and the US to developing digital health investment frameworks. And we also, with our training, the certified COVID certified people, like 15 people from each country, we come together working with the private company, developing the governance IT for specific for health, and then there is the lesson learned from the country. So we have the product, also the webinar. The third thing is that we persistently, we don't stop. We just do what we do, and then we want to progress. And this is all the essence of the network. So it more informal than the very formal forming by the minister. And I can say that this is the network of trust, because of we don't have any hidden agenda for the another country. We just interested in our countries and then want to get help and also give help to another country. That is, I think, that is the main component that we work in our network.
Well, that's great. It's a great cooperation spirit. So we will hand the mic and maybe go first to Ho Chi Minh, who are the students there and very attentive. So I think that you have specific comments or messages or questions.
Alors, on n'a pas le son sur Ho Chi Minh. Attendez. C'est parfait.
Okay, here, so thank you so much for the presentation. So here we have a new generation of the pharmacists. So we have a short discussion today, and we found that for them, the eHealth and network is quite new term for them. And they mentioned that in their school, university, the subject never mentioned about the eHealth and how it's developed in Vietnam and even in the world. So how do you think? So the topic today is about the international network to strengthening stakeholder and transforming international policy. So how can we have the to know and also to understand clearly about eHealth and how the network develops? And for me, I also had another question. Because we mentioned that the AESIN will receive a great support from the WHO and UN and easy other organization. So back to the local actors, whether they have need to meet any criteria to get support from the organization. That's all my question.
Merci de ces questions et on va les poser.
Thank you so much. These questions, we're going to ask the questions. First of all, Dr. Boonchai, can you answer these young students? Very attentive. They seem to be very motivated by eHealth.
You have two questions. One question, I will answer the second question first. Actually, Vietnam is also very active on the networks. But the channel that we work with is the work with the people in the Ministry of Health. I know that you mostly from the university and some university in Hanoi are working with. Right now, Vietnam are working very hard on the e-health interoperabilities. They want to make a lot of health information system in the Ministry of Health to talk to each other, include the pharmacy information system too, the chronic communicable disease. And they got a lot of support from the ADB, and from they got the technical support from the group from AeHIN we call the Standard and Interoperability Labs of Asia, which is initiated by the network, the AeHIN, and supported by the ADB. And we have network like Jimby that got the reward today is also our, sister network on the standard and interoperability. So you can involve with the AeHIN first to be member first, and then we can find the opportunity, attend the webinar, and we can find the opportunity to working together. We can introduce people in Ministry of Health to your group, so they can find that what local group that are very active and want to work on this e-health and digital health. The second question is the first question. You talk about mHealth. I know I am the health professional myself. Before I be the informatician, I think I don't understand this kind of the field, but it needs the knowledge also that to understand in both worlds. World is the health professional world. Is another world is the health IT world. They sometimes talk with different language, but you need this kind of the people who know both fields. It can be health IT people who know who come and learn health professional, or the nurse, doctor, pharmacist go and learn the health the IT. That will be the glue or the middle people who will talk and then coordinate this kind of the field. Health IT, digital health, and e-health is multidisciplinary. So it's not, you have to know many subjects to understand the potential and how we can moving forward on that.
C'est un beau défi que vous nous proposez, ça, le partage de la connaissance.
Thank you. Sharing knowledge, sharing know-how. So one or two more questions. We have a lot of questions from the audience. So really don't hesitate to ask your question through the web, through Twitter, through their campus. Ho Chi Minh, it's great to have you live here in Laval. So where is the mic? So please. Well, hello. My name is Emmanuel Blanc. Thank you so much to the foundation to organize this great day. Now, I was the chief officer, strategy officer of BMS Bristol. So 3 months ago, I created the company called the Take Care for All. That's the name. The idea is to increase scale up in Africa and in Asia. So you see the subject today is really important for me. I've got two questions. We know that governments have a key role, and was talking about this project, or e-payment in the health area in Western Africa. Mr. Ba, you talked about the gap between French-speaking and English-speaking Africa. Today, we have regulations that are imposed to have reimbursement. So you see the role of the public or the... We also have an online pharmacy, so this could be a great solution to solve and reduce the problems of pricing and counterfeit medication. So very quickly, it's really the idea is to pull different players. You talked about having an economic model. So who can benefit from this improvement health in Asia and Africa with digital technologies? You are not talking about pharmaceutical labs, diagnosis companies, device or telecom. You're not talking about insurance companies. So what do you think the big corporates can play in terms of role to set up solutions, scale up in Africa and in Asia? Okay? This question is important. Unfortunately, we couldn't develop everything. Now, my friend here talked about, well, we at WHO, we know that the entire sector is booming, not only for the health players, but also the industrials. You know that studies have been carried out at European level. We are talking about billions of dollars from e-connected objects. So this is going to generate. So you see, it's a really important business. That's why at WHO level, we recommend to have true partnerships. So private and public really have to work hand in hand to scale up these projects that will have an impact not only in the health of everybody, but also generating business. Because today in Africa, in all the universities, you have great talents. I come from Cotonou. We have 20 or 2 startups that have developed digital solutions that are great, that are really innovative. But unfortunately, they don't not have support to develop the products. So this is really important. You need to have a commitment at government level, but you also have to create a good environment, ecosystem. This is what we wanted to do with the telecom, and we need to have a true partnership. And when I talk to operators, I said there is money to win or to gain, because the next applications will use mobile technology. You are telecom companies, so you can do good business there, especially in Southern Africa. In 10 years, 15 years, local communications will be free. And the telecom operators do not understand that. You know, the turnover is not going to come from communication pricing. They need to develop other services. They need to go in that way. So this is what we try to do to encourage our partnerships, and I think that the networks play an essential role in the development and the promotion of these partnerships. Now, other questions, 1 or 2 other questions from the room. Yes? Hello, Nora Berra. I am a doctor and former health ministry in France. In fact, it's more a testimonial that I want to give you, because we talk about the people, the world, Africa, Asia, but in Western countries, we also have the same problems. You talked about the governance, you talked about having a more conservative approach to the health, so these questions are not only problems for emerging countries, but we have the same problems in France. You know, we are late. We are late because we do not, we spent a lot of time setting up a relevant governance for e-health, and also the shared medical record that was creating a computerized version of the patient's file. So now it's the national health system that is steering that. But in addition to governments, you also have the question, the economic. Are these tools profitable? So is it worth it? So in 2011, at that time, we had started the projects of tele-advice, telemedicine, the training of health professionals. We have identified several domains such as X-rays, but we see that in terms of fees, we have spent maybe too much time because teleconsultation has only started here in France, financed the same way whether you are in front of a doctor or if you are at home. You know that we have a big problem in terms of numbers of doctors. So the question also of having health professionals embrace these tools. Now, this is essential. Do they accept these tools? So I would like to thank the Pierre Fabre Foundation for organizing this conference. I can see that the problems, in fact, are a worldwide problem, not only in developing countries. So that is why it's so important to work together in a friendly environment, exchanging the experience, best practices. And even France would be delighted to really work with you and learning from you and also sharing our knowledge. And I hope that in the future we could become real models. So that was more a testimonial rather than a question. And my own return of experience, I wanted to share with you this today. Thank you. So thank you. Everything that we hear from with Asia and Africa, of course, we're not talking about the same financial scales, but in terms of cultural changes, practices, this could be applied everywhere, France and Europe. One last question. There's a lot of raised hands. Okay, so
my name is Lakshmi Panat. You described about the presence of a lot of pilot projects in the area of e-health and m-health. So one question was, how do you benchmark which of those 100 solutions should be taken forward? So what are the outcome indicators for choosing the projects to be taken forward from the government perspective? Because resource is always a constraint everywhere. Thank you.
Dr. Boonchai.
Thank you very much. That is a very interesting questions. You know, when we talking scale up, actually, how we scale up is that it can be working, in many contexts, in many situations. What I say that we face a lot of silo system in several years, and many projects like developing application without looking at the structure or the architectures or the standard of the data or health information. It is not possible to scale up. You know, if you succeed in this region or this village, but your system cannot talk to another system, then sometimes you starting with some kind of the specific functions on that. It might be okay because of you have the right people, the right technology in that area. But when you go to another area, which is maybe the chemical is not the same, then it is not possible to scale up. That's why the network realized that it is the foundation that important. The foundation of how we set up the architecture of the whole system, and what is the standard that we need, the health information standard that we need, and what is the governance that can be governed, that every stakeholder will follow up that. So the scaling up of the application or any project is worldwide problems, and it's unfortunate that you see each project when go to the developing country is depend on the NGO money, on the donor money. When it dry up, it fail. it just stop. But you have to build inside the countries. Inside the country, you have to have, I mean, the good foundation. U.S., even Europe in the sample, if you study how the European country developing this, it also suffer similar things. We use the technology because of the technology, and we create a lot of silo system. That's the problems. How we can harmonize those and lay down the foundation, and then going up from this, and then we can scale. Whatever program, whatever application, it can work from the foundation. I don't quite sure that I answer your question, but this is our experience. We suffer for silo system for many years. And I think this is also still in many countries, even in developed countries.
Merci, Dr Boonchai, de cette réponse. Effectivement, dans notre monde
Thank you.
interconnecté.